Inspirado. Projecto. Inspirado. Inspirado.
Okay,
Hi.
so we're back here with Ruby Tuesday, right after the Yachtley Cruise Show. We're out here at the arena. She's been begging, she's been telling, you gotta play at the arena. You've told us a lot of times. So now we're finally playing at the arena. Now, Ruby Tuesday has gotten the Women's Wrestling Champion of the World T-shirt that Andy Kaufman would wear. Now she wrestled him. When would you say? Okay,
1981.
So 1981, you wrestled him, and he offered how much money to whoever could pin him? He
was offering, I believe, $500 to whoever could pin him, whatever female could do it.
So he would offer that, and then but apparently he claims that no female ever pinned him, right?
But I did. I pinned him twice.
How did he find you? How did he actually find you? Or how did you two find each other?
Actually, I was a hairdresser at ABC Studios, and I was also working at the Tropicana in Hollywood. And daytime doing hair, nighttime doing female mud wrestling, and he was on a show called Fridays, and we met there, and he had heard that I also
so you met on Fridays. Were you doing the hair for people on Fridays?
Yes.
So he happened to come through. Do you remember which episode by any chance? Because you seem to have a pretty good... Was Rodney Dangerfield, or do you remember kind of who else might have been?
I just remembered it was in 1981.
Okay. So Andy Kaufman happened to be on that episode.
Or no, 1980, yeah.
Were you able to see any of the monitors, like what his skit was or any of that stuff?
No, because I was in the hair
You're too busy
room.
doing the hair. He came through. What did you have to do for his hair, first of all? Let's go.
Not much, really. He just had curly hair, so I just ran my fingers through it.
and you're like, okay, great, we did your hair.
And he had mentioned to me, he says, I understand that you also do female mud wrestling at the Tropicana in Hollywood. And I said, yes, I do.
Who told him that? How did he hear this?
I don't know.
Just through the grapevine.
Through the grapevine. The people at ABC Studios knew I was moonlighting at nighttime.
That must have been exciting for him to hear that you were...
So he offered me to pin him. He goes, if you can pin me, I'll give you $500 because no woman's done it yet. And I'm like, well, when does this take place?
That's great.
And he said, well, I'll be doing a match, and we'll do it in Orange County. And then he advertised it. And so then I showed up, and
So it was a big arena in Orange County?
It was a nightclub.
It was just a nightclub.
It was called Smokey Stovers.
And so
on Garden Grove Boulevard, Knott Avenue.
Garden Grove Boulevard.
Knott Avenue. It's now the Hustler Club.
And it's in Orange County.
Orange County. Right off of the Golden West exit off of the 22 freeway. Right, you take a right. It's right there still.
Oh, wow. That's like a... Wow. All of you people who are listening right now, you need to go there and visit this place because it's a relic. Like a true historical artifact. What'd you say the address was?
I just know it's on Garden Grove, Knott Avenue. They're the same street. Knott becomes Garden Grove Boulevard. Garden Grove becomes Knott Avenue.
So they actually set up a ring in this place?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And you can see that match that took place at Smokey Stovers in the movie Intergender Wrestling Champion with Andy Kaufman.
And you put it on your own YouTube
It's on my
channel.
website. Yeah, go to MissRubyTuesday.com and you can see me kicking Andy's ass.
You can see the real one, and we can actually witness you pinning him twice.
Twice, not once, but twice.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I'm thinking a really cool edit would be we see it, and then there's like a blatant, maybe someone like it's written on the screen like, bam, here it is, number 1. Bam, here's number 2.
Well, I pinned him in the first 12 seconds of the match.
And you're saying
Bob Zamuda was the referee at the time. And he's like, uh-oh. And Andy's like, you know Jadelle? I'm like, Jadelle DeLong? Yeah, she's my trainer.
And who's that?
She's a trainer, a wrestling trainer. And apparently she also trained Andy at one point.
How
And
do you
she
know that?
Because she teaches a move where you can pin somebody in less than 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh,
And
how crazy.
So, and it goes like this. And
No way.
And it entails not strength, but confusion of the brain. Because they're looking at this hand, but it's actually
No way.
this hand.
Wait, do it again. Do it again.
Yes.
Now I know what the
Okay.
magic trick is.
Yeah. Okay, so you go like
So I'm
this.
looking at this, but really
You're going
this
like
is
this.
what's. Oh, so it gets you off balance.
It confuses you because by the time you count to 3 and you're trying to move this hand, it's actually the other hand you're supposed to be trying to move.
So that's so funny. So you learn. I mean, basically, it's like magic. So you learn this magic trick from her. Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. So you learn So you learned it from her, and he learned it from her as well.
He learned it
must
from
have
her.
learned how to get out of it from her, then, right?
Well, he kind
Is
of
there a way to
learned.
get out of it?
Not really, because that's why Bob Zamuda is going, oh shit, 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
He kept
my
going.
gosh.
Oh, it came under criticism. The newspaper wrote it up as it was the longest 3-second count in history because it took 10 seconds for Bob Zamuda to count to 10.
So someone
10
was right
seconds
there
to
to
count to
witness
3.
this,
He's
and they
like,
wrote it up.
1, come on, Andy, you can do it. Come on. And he couldn't get out of it. So
This is so
it was
crazy.
great. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. So
Good memories. So he invited me at that point to go to the show Taxi, where
he let you in, Max, basically in the audience.
Yeah. Well, actually, before we even wrestled, I'd met him on Fridays, and he found out that I had wrestled at the Tropicana and was offering me to pick. He said, "Well, I would like you to come down to the show Taxi that I worked on, my other show, and so
After
I can
the wrestling
introduce
match.
you." Well, no, before the wrestling match. This was before we wrestled.
Okay, this is
Because
great.
I'd like you to meet, the people I work with, whatever, on my show. And so he introduced me to Jeff and Mary Lou Henner and all of them, and he's like going, she's going to wrestle me. And they're all like, good luck, good luck. He's
way.
dirty. He don't wrestle fair.
So he was
Have you
pointing you
heard
out
what
to them,
you're
going, "Oh, she's gonna wrestle me," and little did he realize all the tricks of the trade that you knew and you learned.
And because he's so much taller than me, the newspaper even wrote it up that she feigned a little nervousness, but she dropped Kaufman to the canvas 7 times during the first minute.
Oh my gosh, that's
So,
incredible.
It was.
So he's
nice.
what? He's 6 what?
He was, I believe, like 6'1" or 2.
6'2".
I just remember when we stand up, I was like, my neck
Are you
was like
5'5"?
this. I'm 5'4".
So 5'4". Holy moly!
So yeah, he was much
You really got him
taller than me.
down. Oh my gosh!
Because
this
the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That's true. That's true.
It is.
So what did he say? Okay, so after you wrestled him, he still invited you to the show. Then he still kept his word.
Oh yeah, and but he didn't pay me the money, and I was like, when do I get my money? He goes, well, you didn't really pin me.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
no, I did pin you. I pinned you twice. And everybody saw it. And, it was filmed. He goes, nah, you didn't pin me, but, you can
What did
hang
Bob
out with
Zamuda say? What did he say? I can imagine you said, "Hey man,
Bob
you."
Zamuda kept saying that, that 10 seconds it took him to count to 3 was fair. I said,
my
no, it's not. I pinned him. And everybody kept saying, she pinned him. And even the newspaper said she pinned him not once, but twice.
I can only
And
imagine.
it was in the
little
Orange
looks.
County Register
Oh my God, that's incredible.
on January 30th, 1981.
Now, was he okay? So, did you hear any of the Andy and his grandmother CD that came out, where he does?
No.
He had all his micro cassette recordings.
No.
He had a whole. I guess he did like 80 hours. He would always carry this micro cassette recorder with him, and just record his life. And so he wanted to put out a comedy album, but it had nothing to do, because he was inspired by the Steve Martin comedy album that came out at the time. But Andy didn't want to do any ha ha ha, like.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, his quote
Yes.
comedy unquote, which really wasn't really comedy necessarily. It was just real life what was going on. So he wanted to come out with this comedy album. So he was recording on micro cassette recorders. Well, about 5 years ago, out came all this information. which was on his micro cassette recorder. So I put it on a
I'd like to
CD,
see those. I
and there's
hear
still a
those.
whole bunch. It's called Andy and His Grandmother. He's recording his grandma and all this stuff.
Did Lynn have that? Or?
Lynn had it all, and
Because
so
Lynn's the one who gave me my original contract.
oh
with
really?
Andy. She's the one who gave it to me.
Oh my gosh, that's
Hey,
crazy.
wow, you guys did
This is
great.
Ruby. This is Ruby Tuesday, Pauly.
I know, we've met before.
I love it. I'm so happy to hear
And
that.
other place.
Yeah, the rose. Wasn't it the
no,
rose?
Oh,
the
cronies.
Oh,
Cronies.
right. That's right. Look at her. She's got a move.
She's a dude.
What
Remember
the-
American Bandstand?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
She would,
Sorry.
no,
Hello.
but American Bandstand.
You guys come back here.
She had a secret. Do you remember? Do you know?
He's doing an
Ruby
interview.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in a. It's
Hello
in a
there.
area, though. Oh,
I know, but
sorry.
it's lighter in here. We take
where's
photos.
the-
You're going to the
But
dressing room.
no, we're good guys. We're the superheroes. Hold on.
look, we're-
But this is Andy Kaufman's original T-shirt, dude.
What?
I'm the
She was
one who
with Andy
pinned
for a
them.
long time ago. She pinned him
I
twice.
remember you telling me that.
This is she got this
And if you go to my website, you
online.
can watch me kick his ass.
Wow.
This is his original shirt. She found. Oh
Back then, I was
my
known as the red
goodness.
snapper.
Can I get a picture?
You sure
my
can.
God, we gotta do it.
And then I gotta go change.
Oh wait, let's do it 3. Let's do a good. Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay, ready?
Oh my God, it's happening right now. Pauly, get in here. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh my God. Oh.
Come here, give me another hug.
Congratulations, you guys did a great job.
I love it.
Great show.
Thank you, Ruby.
Have fun tomorrow at your other show.
Wait, do you have that? Wait, are you going back to the hotel room?
Go to change, yeah. Oh, great.
I think that's the only key.
Yeah,
Betwixt
normally
us.
this is normally the hotel I stay at when I come to this bar because I don't
So
drink
crazy,
and
it's
drive.
connected.
Yeah. I don't drink and drive. That's why I was here last weekend for my 60th birthday, you know.
So so
I'm putting this in the baggie.
he kept up. Oh my gosh. Oh good. My. So he kept his word, and he said, "Come on by taxi." And while you were there, do you remember what
Take
episode?
one last
That's amazing. I gotta find out what those oil
I know,
those
is it
oils
like
or whatever.
grass
I gotta.
oil or something like that. I
What's it
can't-
called? Do you think?
I think it's like a grass oil. I just remembered it wasn't patchouli, but it was something in the same family.
This is astounding.
I put the little button on it.
So he didn't wear deodorant.
Cologne. I don't believe you wore deodorant.
So he didn't wear deodorant. He didn't wear cologne, but he wore a special oil, which was a
So that he smelled
like
a
grass.
little
You said
bit like a grass scent.
like
It was like
long
the
ago.
same place that you would get the vanilla oil, the patchouli oil, because back then everybody was wearing. Half the people were wearing colognes, the other people were wearing oils, like, incense type oils, because it was pure. And he felt better, I guess, just putting a pure oil around the pits.
So you
in
better than
between.
anybody would know.
What that
Lynn
smells
too,
like.
I'm sure, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lynn
you
too.
would know for sure
I'd ship it to her, but
that
I'd be afraid
this
to lose
is
it.
what that smells. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you're not washing yet because
There's
sense.
no way I'm gonna wash it.
The thing of time travel, like smelling things. Okay, so scents and music are true time travel. I always think they're the true time travel portals because
Correct. They
there's
are.
certain scents that I'll smell and I go, oh my God, this smells like a teacher that I had in
takes you
third
back to
grade,
time.
or other times I'll
Like
smell.
your grandmother or your mother.
Yeah, I'll smell like, oh, this smells like Grandma and Grandpa's basement. I'll smell like, you smell those particular smells
That
like,
too.
and like they're those particular, and like Pauly, he wears patchouli. So if I smell patchouli, I'm like, oh, that's Pauly, and
We
so-
should. Too bad we didn't have him smell it. He might know what the smell is.
oh my God, that's true. He probably would have. He probably
I
would
just
have.
know that it's in
Oh my gosh.
the same family, and he did buy it like the incense type places,
Oh my God.
But I remember that, like I said, at his house, that it was just newspapers everywhere.
He had a lot of newspapers.
Well, I was like,
Wait, was
I
it the
tried
Green
to-
Valley Road? Was it Green
It's
Valley
like- I
in
think
Laurel
it's
Canyon?
Laurel Canyon, yeah.
Okay.
And I remember because I think the Laugh Factory or something like that was a little further down the street. As you took the winding road, you ended up on
so you had to take it
Boulevard.
down Laurel Canyon down to Sunset?
Sunset.
Oh, right.
And then I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I just remember like sitting on his, go to sit on his couch, and he's like with the newspapers, and I'm like,
what was he doing with the newspapers? Was he just reading news, or what the heck?
I think he was just keeping them, reading them, or hanging on to them, collecting them.
Did he draw?
Kind of like a hoarder.
Did he like to draw at all?
I don't recall the drawing part. I mostly, did like wrestling with him, like even after
But you didn't
we had
see like
our
any
wrestling match.
You didn't see any drawings or anything of his in there or anything. He just had the newspapers.
No, but I did see the conga thingies.
He saw his congas.
The conga thingies.
Did you get a chance to play him?
No. But like I said, I remember we did some, personal wrestling afterwards type deal.
Now, as legend has it, he actually had like, there are those like little mats that are like this big. Did he have those at his house?
I recall
like,
the bed.
any kind of wrestling matches?
recall wrestling on the bed, not a
bed wrestling, not necessarily
bed
like mat wrestling, right?
Yeah, no, it was on a bed.
Because there's that story where Zamuda went over to Andy's house, and Andy was all sweating, and then like the windows were closed and everything. And he's like, Andy, what are you doing? He's like, I'm watching women wrestling. It was his first time I guess he came across some footage, 16 millimeter or something. He was playing on a projector, and it was women wrestling, and it started these ideas. In his brain. Now, I guess he was always a fan of wrestling from back in the day. As a kid, he would go and he'd see wrestling and stuff like that. Did he ever discuss his love for growing up and seeing wrestling? Did he ever talk about his history with his passions of wrestling?
Actually, the reason he told me he started doing the wrestling, this was me and him just talking to us. He told me that, at the time, I guess he already knew that he was getting ready to pass. It was coming.
What year was that?
This was in '81.
In '81?
And at that time, he was addicted to air conditioning. Remember, I was telling you, he had to have it blowing in the car, in the dressing room, at the house, wherever. He just always had to have air conditioning because he said he sweat.
It always had to be cold? Oh, was he sweating a lot?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why the shirt.
So he was sweating a lot, so he always made it make sure it was cool on him. Did he also have fans or no?
Always
only
air conditioning.
Only air conditioning.
And I told him, I told him it was too cold. Because I don't like air conditioning. I'm not a fan of air conditioning. He loved air conditioning. And he kept saying...
I'll knock on that door. And if you...
And he kept saying, that at the time when he was doing Taxi, that he goes, when we die, we need to be remembered. Because when we die, we don't all, if you want to believe, go up into heaven and toot on a horn. He goes, not everybody likes to toot on a horn. He goes, the Bible wasn't just written about one person. It was, Jesus is in there. He said, but he was just one of many people. He said that the Bible is a history book. And that our whole purpose in this life is to be remembered before we go. So it's written in a history book somewhere. So long after we're gone, we're remembered. Now we can choose to be remembered as a good person or a bad person, but we want to choose to be remembered, not just by our kids or our grandkids, because not all of us get kids or grandkids.
So the memory lives on.
So the memory lives on. So he decided with the wrestling, and this is when he was telling me he started doing the wrestling because everybody likes to have somebody to hate. And he goes, as Taxi, I was making a name for myself, but I decided with the wrestling, I'd make a bigger name, and everybody would be, really mad at me for beating up the women because most people were doing the female-to-female wrestling, or they were doing the male-to-male wrestling. They weren't doing intergender because, it was just, at that time, women and men weren't wrestling with each other.
How brilliant.
He goes, so everybody would hate me. And in this way, when it's my time to go, they're always going to remember not just that I was on Taxi, but they're going to remember me for the wrestling. And he believed that the wrestling would overplay his role on Taxi.
Wow.
And he was correct. in my mind, he was correct.
Oh yeah.
And, you know,
big time.
but like I said, he started doing all of this stuff just to, like I said, one of the craziest things I remember is because we went out to Knott's Berry Farm together, you know, on
My
a
God,
date.
did he like roller coasters?
No.
No? Because there are those stories of Coney Island where he'd go on these rides, but he pretended that he was terrified of like the simplest rides that were totally not scary,
Well,
but
he
he'd
didn't
freak
go
out.
on any with me because I didn't like roller coasters. We did
Oh, so you two didn't go on any
we did the
rides?
log ride. We did
You
do
two
the
went on
log
a log ride.
The log ride. But I remember
What else?
we were standing there and this guy came up to us and he's like, "Oh my God, you're Andy Kaufman. Can I get your autograph?" And he's like, he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I'm not Andy Kaufman, but I understand a lot of people mistake me for Andy Kaufman, you know, but
Oh my gosh.
sorry to disappoint you, I'm not
Oh
him.
my
And then he
gosh.
grabbed me like this and said, "Come on." And then we started
No
walking away.
way.
And I'm like, why did you do that? Why didn't you just go ahead
Yeah,
and
and so you
sign
asked
an
him why-
autograph?
yeah.
And he goes, "Watch." He goes, "Because this is my entertainment." And he goes, and you see the guy going,
Oh my God.
does not look to other people.
I love it.
And I thought, well, that's kind of okay, cheap entertainment, but you know. But he said, yeah, because a lot of people, I guess, would recognize him, and rather than him acknowledge that he was actually him, it was more fun for him to tell them that,
Oh my
that
gosh.
it wasn't him. And then the people would be going, "What the fuck,
So then
man,
he gets to become the role of the spectator, so to speak.
yeah.
It's like,
You know,
oh, that's
it's,
okay.
and it's like pulling a prank on someone, too.
Yeah. So, you know, because a lot of these famous people, they're always being observed. Then they, you know, once you go to a certain point, you can no longer kind of just look at humans out there in the world. Everybody's looking at you.
Right,
So
right.
it seemed like,
The world
especially
is
for
the
him being
stage.
such a prankster, such a mischievous, having such a mischievous nature, it must have been a lot of fun to say, "Oh no, I'm not Andy Kaufman," and then to watch their reactions. So you two were kind of standing away watching this guy.
Well, he
like
took
just,
me away. He kind of like turned around a little bit, but he didn't want to make it look like to the guy like he was laughing at him.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, but he took me away, and I'm like, why didn't you just sign it for him? Because I got to get entertainment too.
Oh my gosh.
So that was his entertainment when people would do that, and I just thought that was the craziest thing, you know.
Oh my gosh. So
And
that-
but because you know, because he kind of wanted me to, because I started to go Andy, you know, because he's like, don't say it, you know, because I almost blew his cover when the guy was there, you know. So
Now, at some point, did you start playing along where you were sort of like the accomplice to his little jokes?
I just kind of sat back and watched rather than ruin it for him.
I love it. Okay, that's great. So you didn't ruin his jokes or his experience.
No.
You
I
started.
I would just sit back and watch.
That's
Pretty
great.
much, or not say anything rather than ruin it. But like I said, I just thought it was the craziest thing because people would recognize him, and I didn't take that into consideration when I'd go out with him, you know, because to me, he was Andy. He's the guy I wrestled, you know, and I didn't really watch Taxi that much, so you
Did
know,
you-
I was working all the time. I was wrestling every
Right.
night, mud wrestling. You know, I didn't have time to watch TV at nighttime. I just knew that I was
Which is
doing
great
here
because
the
it might
daytime.
just like those kinds of things. You don't have that rattling in the back of your brain of like, oh yeah, he was on this episode and blah blah blah.
Right,
You know.
and when he would like take a break or whatever from work, he'd come stay with me in my apartment, or when I was up there doing both shows, you know, like the Tropicana and ABC studio. Sometimes he'd just let me crash at his place because, you know, we'd established like a friendship, you know. So,
What did you do? You were saying like you liked the air conditioning. What? How did you compensate for that? Someone who just does not like the coldness or whatnot.
I said I need blankets. I need blankets too. I can't do air conditioning. I'm thin blood.
Go to sleep just like just piled up in
But
blankets.
The
I'm
thing
just
I liked
imagining.
about him is because he was so hairy. It was like a teddy bear.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
So even though he was warm, he was sweaty. Like, but I like the sweat.
Yeah.
But he tried to get rid of the sweaty. I like the sweaty, but like I said,
You're
this
saying-
when this shirt showed up, I'm like, oh my God, it smells like Andy, just because of the fact that, like I said, with the air conditioning situation and the sweat situation, and yeah, he wasn't using soap, and he would use this, not cologne. And then he was always running around before the wrestling match would take place, doing crazy stuff, whatever. So
gosh.
it was like he was still concerned about what he smelled like, but he didn't do the usual. I guess a lot of people back then weren't. They were trying to steer away from soap or whatever. I'm not quite sure. I just knew that.
It's amazing.
I just remember he was real sweaty all the time, and I really liked it. I don't know if I should say that,
It's
but
incredible.
yeah, he's long gone now.
Did
But
you?
he was a good guy.
So during that time, did you go? Because he did. You always hear about how he would do these other shows out there. Either at the Improv or he would do these
Just
college
show up and
shows.
do 'em.
Did you check out some of that stuff? Or were you busy working?
No, because a lot of times I was working at night. That's what I'm saying. I was working like 5 nights a week, kind of like what you guys do with this, just... I was always traveling, doing the female mud wrestling at night, but I was doing hair in the daytime. So I was, barely getting, because I lived in Orange County.
Oh yeah. How long has this been going on?
Aurora!
How long
Aurora!
has this been going on?
Dagnan! Aurora! She totally interrupted my...
Aurora Borealis.
You are early, girlie!
I am. I wanted to do the table.
Aurora Happy Alice.
Well,
There you go. That was Pauly Shores, rocking on the straw, rocking on the straw, the straw sax.